All right. Good evening and welcome to Scotty Talks About. This week, Scotty's talking about Dana Stricker again. I'm so excited to have her. Hey, tonight, Dana and I both make a pledge that we will not stay on one topic at all. We'll go all over the place. We'll go down rabbit holes. We'll tell jokes. Whatever happens tonight, we're going to do it. It's not going to be your normal radio show or video show. Right?
Right. So we need questions.
Yeah. So if you have questions, please put them in our chat area.
We're just going to do what we want to do, and you're just going to have to listen to that.
So Danny says, hi, Danny. Hi, Gail.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it's going to be a fun, crazy night, I'm just going to say. So it's going to be good. Yeah, anytime Danny and I are together is a crazy night. So
it's true.
Crazy events, crazy anything. We're always crazy.
It's part of our charm.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah. All right, so let's start out with the basics, and then we'll never go back to them the rest of the night. Dana, explain yourself.
Explain myself. I am a psychic medium from Wisconsin. I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm also a paranormal investigator with U.S. Paranormal Research. And I talk a lot. That's what I do for a living.
Hi, Barbara. Welcome to the show. But yeah, that's good. That's what we're supposed to do. So who's you said what group were you with? WPS?
U.S. Paranormal Research.
Ooh. And whose group is that?
They're out of Antioch, Illinois.
Ah, nice. I think I've met them. I did. We did Hunt the Town.
I'm sure you have. Yeah, I've been with them for, I think it's 3 years now. It might be going on 4. I don't remember. At least 3. But yeah.
Well, let's start talking boots tonight. Let's not get into the psychic medium stuff right away. Unless somebody asks. Remember, it's Q&A night with Scotty and Dana. It's Q&A night. I should put that in the comments below. But feel free to allow yourselves to
anything.
Yeah, anything. So I think everybody, we're the Ricky and Lucy of the paranormal. Can't get the show. No, Dana, Babaloo. That was perfect. So how long have you been ghost hunting? I mean, my first investigation was in '93, so you could tell how long I've been around.
I am right around there with you. I think mine was probably late 80s, early 90s. When I was first asked, because I had been doing this, what I normally do, hi Terry Bristol, all the time anyway. And then I was asked to go to this house, and all the stuff happened when I was there, and that kind of got me started. And of course, back then we were using powder traps, and you're not doing anything like we do now. And there's no power cords going through everything, and nobody's taping the floor, and it was cool.
I thought it was
it's still fun to go, but it's almost too hooked up for me. I kind of sometimes I just like to just sit there without any of that and just go, but
yep.
I've been doing it kind of got to a point at one time where I was like, you know what, I think I'm done with this now, because I've been doing this too long, and you know what it's like. You go on investigations and you sit there sometimes for hours and hours and hours, and nothing happens. Right. And then the next group goes through, and they're like, "Oh my God, I had a brick thrown at my head," and I'm like, "Oh my God, no one threw anything at me," So you get kind of jaded with it. So I took a little bit of a break, and then I came back, and now I'm fine with it. But yeah, I get a little impatient.
What's kind of cool is so my first investigation, we put baby powder all over the floor.
Yep.
We hung string from the rafters.
Oh yeah.
So you could see if
Yep.
it was moving.
That's right.
we had a reel-to-reel recorder with this big mic. I think the mic was about this big, and this big reel-to-reel, and it just went. And we had a camcorder, I think, a
Yeah, I
VHS, and
never
the one.
had a reel to reel.
Yeah. And how about the camcorders that sat on your shoulder? That was
Oh
one
yeah.
that.
That was fun too, wasn't it?
Yep. And so we did.
A lot different.
We did a theater in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We did the Grand Opera House.
Yeah.
And so we're out there with all the stuff happening, and nothing was really happening. So I went to take a break because I was one of the tech directors of the building. And so I went back by my office, and I sat on the couch. And when I sit on the couch, then I hear the footsteps.
Yay.
So it's like they're hiding from everybody else. But we know you.
Yeah. I was at that one that I was talking to, the first one I went on, which would have been really the first where I actively went in search of.
Yeah.
We were doing we did the powder trap, and back then it was like everybody thinks we're whacked anyway. Oh, she's whacked. She's a psychic, whatever, that kind of attitude. But, it's kind of like anything else, nothing against any religions, but it's like an old saying that I heard is like everybody hates the Catholics till they need an exorcist, right?
Right.
So everybody doesn't like a ghost hunter or a psychic until they have a ghost in their house, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, I need one,
Right.
So that's what was the case this time, and we were doing all this stuff. We thought we were cool, and we're walking out of the apartment, and I hear this giant bang. And the guy was like, come back here. The guy that lived there. And I'm like, okay. So me and the two people I had with me went in, and this antique picture that nobody knew was there had fallen out of the top of the attic space down onto and it was of this woman. And I was like, I wouldn't be putting her back up in the attic if I were you. I think maybe you found your person, I don't remember all the details of it. It was quite a few years ago, but yeah. I remember sitting in an attic with, this was before cell phones. It was at someone's house in Milwaukee, and we were sitting up in the attic, and there were all of these, and I'm not a big orb girl. Okay.
Right.
Sounds bad, but you know what I mean? I don't buy the whole orb thing as much as maybe people would expect me to. I just don't.
I don't either.
I was sitting up in this attic, and I know what I was seeing, and it almost seemed like little blue flames of light. And then I thought, okay, is there like a furnace or something up here? Or it didn't make any sense because it would be like the blue flame from like a gas or something.
Right.
There wasn't anything, but they were all over the room, all over the inside of that attic. That was another weird one. But we didn't have phones, and we didn't, we just didn't do what we do now to catch that stuff.
But see, orbs, I think when we see them with our eyes, has a lot higher potential of being something. Because if you look at science, they always say that an orb or round circle or sphere is easy for energy to manifest in. They always talk about that. So if we're seeing with our eyes, but if we're seeing it through our camera and we have a flash, that flash is making that orb. That's
it could be a bug, it could be moisture in the air. People don't think of moisture especially, but sometimes you get those weird orbs when it's like August. Well, that's a lot of that's that humidity that's sitting in the air like that. So I hate being like Nancy negative if somebody sends me a picture, because I don't know about you, but I always have people send me pictures just because they know me and stuff. And so I get a lot of like orb pictures, and it's like, well, I don't want to be like, no, it's not that, because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I know that's not what they think it is.
Right.
And I don't want to, I don't know.
Well, that's where I back it up with my spiritual self. And I go, as a medium, I don't feel that there was any spirits around, but that doesn't mean that that's not. And that's all I look at because 99% of the time it's some kind of refraction bug, something like that. It's not a real orb. But if I catch it on, like I once caught an orb that I caught on the camera that the person behind me saw.
Oh, wow.
So then you go, oh, okay, that's different because a person seeing it doesn't see the light that the camera puts on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it had to be flashing of its own accord.
But those were the early days, again, when I was what? Pretty young.
10.
Back then. And people, it's changed, miraculously so through the, advent of ghost hunters, particularly,
Right.
Paranormal State, the real old shows like that. I remember when those first came out, and ghost hunters, I couldn't leave my living room. I was just like, every week I was right there for every single episode of that show because there was nothing like it. Remember In Search of with what's his face? Spock. Nimoy. I was gonna say William Shatner, and I knew that wasn't right. With Leonard.
He's doing it now.
I watched that show like crazy when I was a little kid too. And then Unsolved Mysteries and all those weird ones, but nothing had ever been out there like Ghost Hunters. And I'm thinking, dude, I've been doing that for, at that point, it had been 20 years, at least 10 years, 15, something like that.
Yeah, I did that with Most Haunted. Remember that show from England?
Yes. Were you on that show?
No, but I got to be really good friends with Derek Okora, the medium from there.
Okay. Well, who was the lady on that show?
Yvette.
The blonde one that screamed a lot, right?
Her name is Yvette. Yeah, Yvette.
Okay.
Yeah. And she so I became really close to Derek. I had him on my radio show back then when I was on ParaX. And he was on there and he told me a bunch of stuff. He actually gave me a reading on the air and told me that I was actually a medium and that everything I'm doing today or I have done up to today, he predicted on that show. And I was freaked. He even called me a medium. And I didn't even know what a medium was back then. I thought the medium was a guy from Wizard of Oz in that little trailer.
You could pull that off, though, really.
I still could do it, I think. I was thinking this year I want to get a box and walk around and be Zoltar.
That would be so funny. You know that?
I'll give you a reading. Next time, be skeptical of guy in box. That's your reading.
Be careful where he's asking you to put that dollar, too. No fortune is worth your pride.
Well, $1 is, so I know I'm going to go for it.
Oh, my God. So, anywho.
But anyway, so he was on there. He told me, and that was where I started. And, so we started all those investigations back there. But I still think, even today, the best thing to do is use our minds because we're the best investigators in the world, not all the gear. Because most of the time I see so many people behind either their phone or an EMF meter, and looking for stuff, and that they're looking at the gauges and they're not looking at the spirit.
They're not seeing the spirit that's walking out in front of them. Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. I would say like the last probably 5, maybe 8 years. And I don't know, I guess I never really tracked it prior to this, but for some reason, a lot of the times when I'm reading during an investigation, like I go through on my own, I don't let my investigators hear what I think and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But we're getting EVPs that match what I say, which is like super cool. And
that is the best.
It is. And it's like, no matter what anybody that's alive thinks, they know I can hear them. So, doesn't matter what y'all think. But I've had a couple of them now. I know I was on one with Ursula. We went to one of my very favoriteest places ever is Ashmore Estates. I love Ashmore.
Me too. I love it.
Yeah, and ever since Robin had it, I've loved it. Let's put it that way.
I loved it before. There was so much stuff going on before Robin got it.
Yeah, and he
and we had a top floor that didn't get taken off by a tornado.
I was there twice. I was there before him and during somebody else, and it was right before the tornado hit it, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that place, you know, it's small. I mean, it's big enough to take a group, but it's not huge, like Mansfield, for instance. I think that I'm sorry, I was reading my comments. Hi. See, I shouldn't do that. Now I'm distracted from what I was saying.
We told everybody before the beginning of the show. We're going all the way down. Nobody can tell us.
No, we had like marbles being thrown down the hall at us, and there was all kinds of stuff that happened the first and second time. But the second time when I went with Ursula's group, I had direct responses. I don't know if she still has those EVPs, and that's kind of where I noticed it. And I thought, it's probably just because it was she and I in a room doing it. It wasn't like we had the whole bunch of people around us. But it was like super interesting to me that happened. And then as it's gone along, now that I'm investigating more and more, or I was until COVID anyway, I was getting a lot of that where it would be like, you won't believe this EVP we got because it's exactly what you said. And I'm like, that's because I heard him say it. You know, what do you want me to say? I told you so. But so it's kind of interesting. I'm sure you've had that happen where it's like, I told you.
I had that with Rob Demarest from Ghost Hunters International.
Mm-hmm.
And he has one of these recorders, these really expensive ones that he has a little light on the top. So when he records, if their light goes off, you know somebody's talking.
I want one.
And then, I know, me too, but $10 grand, it's expensive. I think I saw the cheapest one I saw out there was like $2,500.
Seriously?
Yeah. But anyway, so he picked it up, and I said, well, the spirit just said this, and Rob clicks play, and the spirit said exactly what I just said, and I went, yeah.
Victory is mine.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a great feeling because I think, you know, people can believe, they can say, oh, I believe in mediums. I believe in this. I believe in communication with the dead. But you get them like where you say, listen, I heard this. And they'll be like, oh, really? They're still skeptical of it, even though they say they believe it. So when you get something like that to happen, that's what I mean. It's like, you don't have to believe me, but they do. So you can listen to this. That's just me being spiteful and petty, I guess. But not that I'm ever like that or anything. I'm not.
Funny. You know what?
What?
Petty?
What?
I said, you're not petty?
I'm not petty.
No. But it is cool. It is cool when you get that other thing, you know, and it's good when other people are around too, you know, because, you know, most of the time when I ghost hunt, I don't get too bored. The other investigators do, because I go around and talk to the ghosts where I know they are. So I said, either you come with me or you sit there in that room where nobody's going to talk to you. They're going to be down the stairs here. Come on.
There are just, and there's just some places where, to me, like I go in and they're not going to do anything. It's like, I'm not a circus act, you know. I know you're not, you know, but if you got something to say, now's the time, because not many people can hear you otherwise, you know. But I can, you know, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like to be, you know, are we like, I always get, my mind starts going like, you know, are we the ghosts to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I've thought of that before too. You know, are we just showing up to them? Because I believe dimensions are all lined up and everything's happening at once. So if we can see them, can they see us? Right? And the answer has got to be yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be. We look different. Maybe it's all the same. We see them, they see us. But so Jenny says, "Go ahead."
Yes. Place where you get jerked. I would like to go back to Mansfield at Ohio State. I'm going to try to get there this summer. I don't know though. I was there once, but there were too many people in there. There were different groups besides the group I was with, and the group I was with was too loud, and I want to go back.
I got to go to Mansfield with 5 people. We got a private tour.
Very cool.
We walked in the front door, and as I walked in and I got into the vestibule, the back door slammed shut. Boom. And that's how we started our day. And it was really cool because one of the guys was running the place at the time. He goes, Scotty, since you're the psychic, out of all these cells, you take us to the one where the guy was the most horrendous soul ever. I said, okay. And so I walked him right to it, and he goes, how the hell did you know this? I go, he showed me. I love
That's
Mansfield.
the one that had all the petrified toilet paper in it.
Yeah.
Was there a bunch of old toilet paper in there? No, I know exactly the one you went to. That's so weird. That's so weird. Yes. Of all things to think of, toilet paper. So I would say that I have not investigated in Ireland. I would like to go to Ireland, Scotland. I have been to England. I didn't really ghost investigate there, but I had run-ins with some of the locals. So that one's not so attractive to me as Ireland probably is, because Ireland's kind of mysterious, as is Scotland. A lot of druid type stuff and just stuff that's odd. When I lived there back in the 80s, that's when the crop circles were happening. And I saw one of them, and it was humongous. And I remember being in the car, and I was like, what is that? Because we didn't know that was before the US got into their whole thing with it. So there's all kinds of mysterious stuff over that way.
Yeah, the other place I would like to go is like Greece. In Greece,
Greece is, well, I've never been there, but it looks gorgeous. And I would love to meet some of their fortune tellers I would love that. Any of those ancient places like that, I would like. But unfortunately, I'm trapped here right now. So
yeah, we're stuck here in Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah. And it's cold, folks.
So if a place is haunted and a ghost floats by, can everyone see, or just who they want to appear to?
That's a good question.
It's a very good. But I at first when I read it, I thought ghost floats, half root beer, half ghost. I don't know. I didn't know. A little bit of
ice cream with
root beer and a ghost. I don't know.
There you go.
That is a good question, Katie. That's a very good question. I think if they're showing themselves and they're manifesting, anyone who's around that understands can see. Because there's a lot of people that I know that never saw one before, but all of a sudden saw it.
Right. Plus, if you ever watch TV shows where they're showing a ghost floating by and everybody sees it, I think that's what's actually happening to the investigators in the room. I think they're actually experiencing that. However, stranger things have happened where they think the camera's not working for some reason because the energy's getting sucked out or something, where
right.
They don't know that they don't know what's going on until they watch it later, kind of thing. I don't know. I know I would rather not have them manifest in that unless I was on an investigation. I don't like waking up at 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning with some guy standing next to my bed. I could do without that.
If it's a beautiful lady ghost, I'm fine.
I'll send her your way then. Because let me tell you something. I'm like the McDonald's over here.
That's a good question. Now, Candy knows that my definitions of ghost and spirit. Yeah. And so is that different when they manifest? And I'm not sure. So if you're watching for the first time, a ghost is a soul that's passed or died, but hasn't gone to heaven. So they're stuck here on earth, so. And where a spirit is someone who's died, but has gone all the way over to the other side and is with God and the oneness and that type of thing. So that's the difference. Where we just did an investigation. This is kind of funny. We just did an investigation where most of the people in the building were spirits. We only felt one ghost, which is good. But the place was just so well. It was Turner Hall in Milwaukee. The place is just so loved by all the spirits that are there that they're just there because that's a place they remember, and a lot of people still go there, and it's just a wonderful energy. Right. The one negative one we had to help, but just like that, I mean, you can see either or. It depends on how they're going to manifest themselves.
Well, and Scotty and I mean, I don't disagree with you. I just don't have the same background that you like. I never studied this kind of thing, so I have my own lingo in my head because I've been doing it for so long. Right. I don't disagree with you. I just don't call them the same things. I screw up all the time. I got yelled at for calling them ghosts once.
By who?
Some woman told me that it was like calling them the N-word, and I thought, I don't think so, and
that's not true.
I don't appreciate being lumped into that little equation, but whatever.
No, I'm just trying to define it because too often, like that lady there, people get all these different definitions for everything, and nobody really understands the difference. But
we don't know. None of us really know.
Right. Not 100%. Well, I got to say I do because when you talk to somebody and give a reading, that that's their grandma or their grandpa. Right. And that's the same thing.
Easily.
Yeah. And then when I'm out investigating or when you're investigating, we know. I mean, that's the thing where I don't know because that's the thing. I've never in all my readings have never, ever, 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 ever had one of my readings talk about hell. Not one. And you would think at all these readings day in, day out, they would talk about it, but they don't. Because it's not real. Because we make our own happiness and unhappiness on this earth. We spend the time here in the emotion. And that's why I call them ghosts, because they do the same damn thing. Even though they're passed over and they could be in this better place, they chose to stay here for whatever reasons they chose to stay here without crossing over.
I think that's the bottom line for most things anyway, is that we all have free will, regardless of what anybody says about anything. What one spirit, ghost, soul does is not exactly what another one's going to do.
Exactly.
And not for the same reasons and not at the same time and all that other stuff. So it's, again, like I think we all say it at one point or another, you can't be an expert in this field because there just isn't anything. You can't go there and then come back and go, okay, here's the scoop. I mean, you can try and maybe you'll get somewhere, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I do. But the thing is, up until today, I call myself a medium because I think I talk to dead people. Okay. So if tomorrow science proves that I can trans-channel or go through dimensions and then I can see people in dimensions, then I'm a dimensional travel, not a medium. You know what I mean? Until it's proven otherwise, this is what I
point. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm willing to be whatever it is, or if I can read somebody's subconscious all the way down and I'm just that talented, which I don't think I am because I tell everybody, I said I'm a pretty stupid dude. For me to be able to make all this stuff up is pretty weird. But if science proves it that way, then that's what I do. And I think I'm pretty damn good at whatever science is going to say I do.
I don't like
But-
science.
Well, I do because
When
it's
it comes
proof.
to medicine, it's great for the most part, and then a lot of parts, it's great, but not in some for me.
Yeah, I understand, but I always, that's the thing too. As a medium, I'm quite skeptical in the fact that I want science to prove what we do. It's got to be.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Everything's got to be. Science can't be different than spiritual. It's all got to be the same, because you can't put a concept on top of something else, because that doesn't make sense to me. Because I believe we're all energy, and that's why we live. Because energy can't be created or destroyed. So our soul is energy, and that's why we can't be created or destroyed, and that's why we have reincarnation.
I know what I want to come back as next time.
Not this guy.
I think I've got a couple of lives left, just fun ones. I hope.
Like I say, I want to come back and see Psychics Unite still going. That's what I want to see.
You want to see what?
Psychics Unite still being here. The group we created.
Oh, yes. The one that I keep needing to join and I keep forgetting to join. And
that one.
I'm awful. It's not for it's like not that I don't want to. I just
busy chick.
It happens to me. I just forget or something.
It's all that
scary.
It's all the snow in the Northwoods.
Oh, it's nasty cold. It felt like a heat wave today, and it was 17 degrees outside. A heat wave.
I went to do that show in Hayward, Wisconsin, and it was minus 31 degrees. Yes. And today it's 17. That's almost 50 degrees difference.
It was some nasty.
It was nasty cold.
Even my cats were like, "Lady, get back in bed because we need your body heat." That was my excuse anyway. But it was darn cold. But and everybody's like, "Oh, you should be used to that because you're from there." And it's like, no, not really, because it really hasn't been this bad in
100 years. 100 years. Yeah. They said this is the longest streak in the major negatives that we've had in 100 years.
Well, I just read yesterday that some guy in Galveston, Texas was skiing. There's snow in Galveston. I was in Galveston a year and a half ago, and it was the hottest weather ever. It was like horrible hot. And now they're skiing. I can't even get that into my brain that whole beachfront is that cold right now. Right. And I have a friend that has been out of power for I don't even know how long that lives down there. They just for that.
Yeah, that's a good thing for us up here. We have that infrastructure when it gets cold, that our stuff doesn't break because we already made it for that. Where down there, they struggle. They don't even have the plows. They don't have the salt. They don't have any of the stuff that we need for our roads and that we have.
They really don't know how to drive in it. And that's really not their fault. It's just, we're so used to, we've all been beat up since the time we were 16. I mean, we can drive and not even know if we're in a field or if we're on a road. As long as we got a tree line, we'll find our way.
That's our driver's test.
I mean, I used to drive it out on the lake with my car. Never even thought about falling in.
If you take a driver's test in Wisconsin in the winter, you have to show them how you can do donuts.
Yeah. We need to go to the parking lot.
Yeah, we got to make donuts. Try it. Right. And you get spin back. Okay, you got your driver's license.
Well, you ain't seen hurt to the bottom of your vehicle until you're driving onto a lake where it goes from land to lake. Like there's a decline. Oh God, it's amazing we all survive.
Yeah.
Truly.
And the funny thing is we never wore helmets.
Or seatbelts for that matter. Seatbelts were nothing but, I remember being in a station wagon when I was a kid. We thought it was the coolest thing because my parents' friends had one. The seat was backwards, so you were looking out the back window.
Yeah.
A seatbelt. There are kids climbing all over the place.
We went to Disney in that. From Wisconsin to Disney. in the back seat of a station wagon like that, and then we would flip people off.
Oh yeah, I went to Bay City, Michigan, from here where I live, in the back of a Pinto with the seats back, so my sister and I could lay back there, and we had one of these signs. You bought it was for travel, and it had like sayings. Did you have it? And it was like, honk your horn or back up, for like all these really super obnoxious things. For 9 hours, we played with that.
No.
In the back of this Pinto. It was ridiculous.
Honk your horn.
Oh, there was we do it. My dad was driving, Mr. Irish Catholic temper man, and we'd be like, honk your horn, and then he'd like have a heart attack as he's driving the Pinto down the road. It was great.
We promised everybody a trip to the past, and with ghosts, and this is our past. This is
there you go.
Same thing. Oh my God! And then later in time, when you got a little bit older, you started making your own. You would put paper over like "F you," and they couldn't come beat you up because you were a kid.
I never would have said such things. That must be what you
liar.
It's very difficult for me to listen to that underneath my habit.
What, your habit to swear, or your
or something?
Because I know you're not wearing
them. Yeah. So does anybody else have any questions out there? Come on in, guys.
I do.
Oh, okay. Michelle. Oh, Lordy. I would have to say...
See, now, would you recommend something big first, or like someplace fun first? Because there's a lot of places that
I would go to a house for Michelle. I wouldn't go to like the prison. I would go to like maybe, what do you think? Like the Axe House or
there.
But
that was fun. I did a show with Mark and Debbie Constantino there.
Oh, okay.
And I miss those two so much.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah. But I would like. Do you know where Michelle lives? Is she in Wisconsin here?
Yep. No, she's from Illinois.
Okay. Then head over to Middletown, Ohio. There's a place that you can go. It's called what's the name of the school? Poasttown Elementary School. Very wonderful place, very haunted, and they have tours there a lot. They do a lot of those, but there are no evil spirits there. There's nothing negative in the whole place.
For Michelle.
What?
That's perfect for her.
Yep, that's always a good place to start when you're first starting, because you don't want to go over to Waverly. You don't want to go to Mansfield. You don't want to go to those type of places when you're first starting. But that's a good one. Ashmore in Illinois.
Ashmore is excellent, and I think that is a really good place to start, and it's a good place to go if you're like really chicken, because there's nothing scary for me there.
Right, you're right. Me either. I don't ever feel the major negatives there. Rhodes Hotel is another one.
That place I haven't been to either. I really wanted to go to that Fox Hollow Farm, and I can't get there now.
You can't get there now. But see, I wouldn't send anyone there. That was pretty nasty.
I'm talking about me being a jaded old crusty person.
You would have had fun there. You would have took the spirit on by yourself. So
maybe.
Yeah, Velasca. Yeah, Velasca Axe Murder House, Jenny said.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. The Velasca Axe House or the just Vasilla. It's Vasilla?
No, it's not. It's Velasca.
That's what I thought. Or you could go to the Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah. Or you could go to just go to Salem. Walk around. There's a lot of good stuff there. Or Gettysburg.
Gettysburg is the number one. I would send anybody to Gettysburg. I would go back to Gettysburg at the drop of a hat, and I would stay in Gettysburg for an extended time just
I would
to
too.
be there.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
literally people, wherever you walk, there is somebody buried under your feet there. And that's no joke. We saw, oh my God.
Abe Lincoln spoke. He was sitting right there. You can walk right out into the field where he spoke, and you feel all the energy.
Yeah. That place is a definite, yeah. I would road trip back to Gettysburg in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Now I want to go.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I have not been to the old Baraboo Inn, and I've heard a lot of really awesome things about it. I have to go there.
Hey, BC and Shelly, I'll bring Dana with me.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to go. I've got a lot of friends that have been there and have been totally impressed there. I want to go.
The basement is tough, and so if you're starting out, I don't recommend the basement, but I recommend going upstairs to where the brothel was. Amazing energy, amazing spirits up there. The bar area, the back bar, both of them incredible. Probably one of the most haunted places. We went there with Shadow Hunters, who were doing the show. This is their page we're on. We went with them a few weeks ago. Crazy. And this weekend we're revealing a lot of stuff. We had amazing EVPs. Devin, who's in the chat room, was there, so it was great.
I want to go there really bad. That's a good place. Jenny and Michelle Laporte, we could do that. I'll take you there.
That was great.
Oh. I was 15 when I read professionally, so I don't really know how to answer that one. 15. I was really young. I think it was a matter of, I think it was just because I had been super accurate, and I was still in high school, and my parents, not really my mom, but my dad was like, we're not talking about this, because the town that I'm from is like 1,700 people. And so back then, 85, 84, whatever it was a long time ago. A lot of aqua hairnet days in there. But I wasn't very much. And then when I lived in Ireland, I read because I couldn't work. So I read quite a few people when I lived there. And then it just kind of went on and on and on.
I didn't start reading professionally until after Derek or Cora told me about it. That I could do readings. I mean, I did all the stuff. I was sensitive. I knew all the stuff. I wasn't trained. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what a medium was.
I was never trained either. I'm a self person. I mean, that just wasn't something that I had access to at that age around here. Yeah,
around Wisconsin here? No.
Mm-mm.
No, it wasn't. I was in the Milwaukee area. Still didn't have it. So yeah,
and I didn't know you then. So.
I know, really. But it was funny you said 84. That's the first time I came out. I was in college then at Oshkosh, UW Oshkosh, and that's where I saw my full body apparition.
Oh, really? At the dorm?
Yeah. No, in the theater.
Really?
Yeah. And what's the cool thing was because being an alumni and working there, knowing all the guys, about 20 years later, we were able to do an investigation there with all mediums. That was so cool. Yeah, it was
that sounds really, really fun, actually.
Yeah.
The place that I would, yeah.
So Old Baraboo Inn from there.
Baraboo Inn, field trip.
Oh, they gotta go. That's Sharon. Yeah, Sharon says she went. And then Old Baraboo Inn says, so I don't know if it's BC or Shelly. They said, please do. Thanks, Dana. We want to meet you.
Yeah, cool. That would be fun. I want to go sit in the brothel just because, I want to say I did that.
It was funny because Dana, because Sharon and Devin are psychic mediums too. And they were in there, and Devin was getting picked up by the madam. She kept hitting on her. So that was kind of cool. I was like,
interesting.
Yeah, because she likes girls, I guess.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Whatever floats her boat.
Yeah, hey, more power to her.
Yep.
So it depends on Devin if she wants to date a ghost or not.
Yeah, true. That one chick married one. Remember her?
Oh yeah, yeah. No.
The Ashmore's to Oh, really? Like a bad attachment, Debbie?
Yeah, let us know, Debbie.
I mean, obviously it had to have benefit. I never ran into anything there that was sideways, but that's my personal experience too. So
Yeah. Yeah. I finally look back and I see Jenny saying about her giving us the chickens. She's not chicken. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Jenny's giving the chickens, all right.
Laying some eggs. Laying some eggs.
I don't know. I never like ever had an attachment. How do I say that right? This doesn't sound right. They were talking about the weatherman that got an attachment after visiting Ashmore. I have never been to Ashmore in recent times where I felt anything scary like that. Yeah. Lee, an attachment. You want to explain that to her, Scotty, or you want me to?
Well, we both can. We can start out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So an attachment is a spirit or a ghost. What do you want me to call it, Scotty?
It would be a ghost.
A ghost. It would be a ghost that would, like if you're walking through Walmart one day, let's say, and there's a spirit in there. Because let me tell you, they're usually not hanging out at their graves, but whatever.
Yeah, they're not.
You run into one at a bar or something. If that person decides it wants to latch onto you for whatever reason, be it they like how you look, they like how you act, you remind them of somebody, they like your energy, they like the way you feel as far as like your personality or just what you're giving off. What they're ending up doing is like basically sucking the life out of you. That's an attachment. Right. I mean, that's a hugely dramatic way for me to put that, but it would be like a hijack ghost just jumps on board for the hell of it just to see how far they can take the ride.
Right. Yeah, they're like a hobo that jumps on your train.
And eventually they jump off, I think. You don't normally haul them around with you. But, if somebody goes in there skeptical, into any situation hugely skeptical, they automatically, I feel, kind of make themselves more of a target for an attachment because it's almost like, you're walking into a room and you're telling everybody in that room they aren't there, they don't exist, they don't matter because you don't believe that they exist or matter.
Right.
Who do you really think those people are going to go for? They're not going to go for me. They're going to go for the guy who's like, I don't really care what you say. Or somebody's like super skeptical.
Yeah.
You're kind of like not being respectful. So, but anyway, Lee, that's what that would be. It would be like, it's a spirit. It's a ghost. It's a ghost. It doesn't happen to everybody.
But it doesn't happen.
But
it only happens if you're not protected.
That or if you're doing things like, investigators, and Lee, I know you don't investigate. She's a friend of mine, but it's like, it would be like walking into somebody's house and just being like super rude. And there's some investigators that do that same thing. They kind of like, they shout at the spirit or ghost. They will yell at the ghost. They will like make them angry. So they like act out. And I understand the why. And it's kind of cool when you get a reaction. It's easy to forget there's a person there when you can't physically see them. And that's not something that most people would do normally. Like to a normal person is to go up and be rude and stuff like that. So it's a form of bullying, if you will.
It's definitely, that's definitely part of it. And Lee, I believe one more step of it. I believe that the people that look for lower energies, and that's usually what attaches to you is lower energies. And so when we're not truly of ourselves or truly of being of a blessed state, we walk around, we're looking for that negativity. So in essence, making your own hell. and you bring these other spirits with you, and they stay with you because you're feeding them and they're feeding you this negative energy, and it just keeps you in this place of. So the moment that we can get rid of them, the moment we come to our higher selves again, the more we become protected, we understand, then we can get them to move on.
But it's not to like diminish the seriousness of an attachment, how it can be a serious thing for some people, because it can mess with the dynamics of family life. It can screw around kind of a little bit with personality. It can do things that, the person that you're used to talking to as your husband, for instance, might start acting really belligerent or just rude or more physical than normal. That is probably not a good attachment, for instance. So, it can be serious, but it's not like you see on TV all the time.
I agree with you, Dana. That's the big thing, because too many people always take it to the extremes in this field.
Right. And you can have an attachment that walks around with you for years and not ever know they were there. I get those all the time when I read people. I'm like, who's the kid? That kind of thing. She believes it was bad. Unfortunately, I don't agree. I'm not at all diminishing experience.
There it is, though, Dana. That word, skeptical.
Yep. And it's, you can be skeptical and still be polite. Sometimes if you think you're cracking jokes at a place like that, like off to the side, you got to remember there's still people listening that maybe you don't know about. So if you're saying, yeah, let's see, I don't believe that thing can throw a chair across a room, blah, blah, blah. Bam.
Right across the head.
You gotta, it's a respect thing. It's like anything else. You wouldn't go into a cemetery and be all like, at somebody's headstone. Why the hell would you go into a building and do that where somebody used to live? That's just, that's kind of what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying the weatherman was 100% wrong, and maybe he didn't do that. Maybe he was skeptical but quiet about it. I can't help you there. To get pushed down the steps is a pretty big deal. I imagine he was terrified, but I bet you anything he believes now. I'm sorry, Mr. Man, that happened to you.
Well, in some ways you are, in some ways you aren't, because he didn't get hurt.
Well, I'm glad he didn't get hurt and things like that. I never want to have anybody get hurt, but it's you got to have there's a respect thing, and that goes across the board, and it's not just human to human, it's spirit to spirit, ghost to human, whole thing. You walk into somebody's house and act like a jerk. Do you really think they're going to be nice to you? Probably not.
But see, that's the concept of heaven, though, that we're lacking right now, is love. Because I believe 100% that heaven, and when you cross over to heaven, that's why I call them spirits, because when you're in heaven, you're of love. There's no more carrying the crap that you carried in life. You forgive everybody, you love everybody, you move on, you come back to help. That's what heaven is. And that's why I say that they're spirits, because I'm trying to define, because people say, oh, when you die, if you're a bastard in life, you're a bastard in death, only if you don't cross over.
And most of the ones that are like that aren't crossed over. And that's what I'm getting at. And so just like I'm saying, the ones that aren't crossed over, for instance, like in Ashmore or Mansfield.
Right.
They still have the capacity to harm to some extent. They really want to. So why would you I just don't think they would do that in a normal situation unless somebody was doing something that really irritated them or made them feel terrible. To push somebody down a set of stairs is that's scary to me.
Or challenge. That's the other thing. A lot of times people are maybe polite enough, but they're challenging them. I don't really think you can do anything. Boom, down the stairs you go. No, I did. You know what I mean?
Sorry about that office chair you took to the head, but you should have shut up while you... Just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
But so, I guess I shouldn't like blanket that when I talk about attachments being, I don't know. I have had my own, obviously, because of what I do, but I've never had them stick around. I brought the last one that I know I brought home from New Orleans with me last year. All he did was whistle. I had him
See?
for a week or so, and then he left. And I actually tried to contact Kevin Betzer, who's from down there, to find out if that was like a thing, like a one that's reported, because it was the most bizarre thing I've ever gone through. I'm in my car jamming out to this whistling. I just got home from New Orleans. I'm in groove mode. And until I realized as I was driving my car that my radio wasn't on. So who the hell was in the backseat whistling?
Right.
I do not know. But yeah, it was in my hallway one night, and oh yeah, he stuck around. But again, nothing I did intentionally to harm this guy. So I don't know if he was just like bored or I don't know, telling me I wasn't going to be back there for a few years.
You were talking about Fox Hollow Farms, and that's probably the only attachment I've had ever. And because of his, and he was probably the closest thing to evil that I've ever met.
He was like a serial killer, wasn't he?
Yes. And he would bury the dead gay guys out in his farmette. And at one time he had a pile of them, and he put hay on them so it looked like a hay pile. In the end, he got careless, and he left the body out, and that's how they found it, and that's how they got everything. But he had a pool in the basement, and he would bring guys from.
I remember seeing that, and he had mannequins set up around the pool, and he was like a real bizarre dude.
He was
super
really
rich, though, right?
Yeah, he owned Save-A-Lot stores in Indianapolis. Yeah.
Oh, Save-A-Lot, but not a lot of lives.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was pretty tough.
Don't they haunt the woods there?
Yes. And the farm and the barn and then the land and then the house.
Oh, that's so like the whole shooting match. You can't go anywhere. They'd have to like salt that earth down, wouldn't they?
They would. It's tough. It's a tough place.
I want to go. I'm horrible. The scarier the better anymore. I think I'm.
When I went there, Deb Lance and I were the first two psychic mediums, and her son Nick were the first 2 or 3 psychic mediums ever to be allowed on site.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and I didn't even know about it when we went there, and they wouldn't tell us about it because I guess they had news stories, they had documentaries and stuff already. Never heard of it, and so they showed everybody there. And so at the end of the night, Deb and I sat down with the homeowners, and one of the paranormal investigators said to us, "How come you're telling them about the documentary we saw?" And all the rest of the investigators go, "Hey, they didn't. They were at the hotel. They didn't see the documentary." And then he goes, "Oh, pretty damn good then, you guys. Congratulations."
Jeez.
Yeah, we hit it. Thanks.
So who did you bring home with you?
Him.
You did?
He affected both Deb and I's dreams for a week. We would call each other every day, and we would explain the exact same dream we had. But after about a week, he was gone because he knew we weren't crumbling, we weren't scared. We were like,
yeah. Why did they? I know it was open for investigation. Why did they close it down? What's the deal?
Last I heard, the city of Indianapolis says they don't have the right permits, and they don't know if they're going to let everyone have permits.
Well, I want a permit. Should I pull a Karen? Try to get
Yeah, just sit down there and bitch all day long for 2 weeks.
Excuse me. I've called 25 times today now. I could never be that persistent, but
I can't. I'll ask you once, and if not, too bad.
I'm done. I'm busy. I'm moving on. It's
Yeah, I
just
don't
that
know how.
I've always wanted to go there.
And Debbie, I agree with you. Even when I was there, I couldn't believe it because it was really like two different. It was like two different sites. It was the upstairs where the bedrooms were, the middle where the kitchen and the dining room and living room and all that stuff were, and then the basement where the pool was. The basement where the pool was the most creepiest place out of it because that's where the murders happened. It was almost like it was two different things. It was like two different people. With him and his family, everything was great. But when he was trolling the gay guys and doing all of it, he'd bring back to have sex and.
Quick question. Was there like a guest house next door to the house or built on top of the garage that somebody lived in at one point?
Above the barn.
Oh, it's the barn. And that person had issues, didn't they? With like a knife in the wall and like really weird things going on up there. Like
yeah,
guys there was a ghost showed up at his door, I think.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't remember all the details of the barn, but I remember the house. And they actually wanted us to find pieces and parts of people. I'm like,
Did you?
No, we didn't. We didn't find it. But I knew exactly where everything happened, though.
Oh, God, I would have been in there. I know I would have been. Trying to get him out. That's like so sad. Have they ever identified all of his victims, or is it like a Gacy thing? Where they just kind of, they don't really know.
I don't think they've gotten everybody.
Well, I think Gacy, I think there's still victims out there that,
well, that's a good question.
I think there was one just a couple years ago where they discovered that that guy was in fact one of his victims and the family had no clue.
Right.
Probably because they didn't know that he was a homosexual.
Right. The name of the place is Fox Hollow Farm.
Yeah.
That's what they call it now.
Right. Well, and who owns it? The state or somebody privately?
Privately.
So if anybody out there knows somebody that owns this joint.
Actually, I know the last investigating teams that were the house team. And she said if we can ever get in, she'd let us know. Right now, it doesn't look very good. So here we go.
Oh, no, you don't. They usually just piss off. Oh, pardon me.
That's
they usually just go away on their own. Yeah. It's never been a case where that's a really good question though, because it sounds like you would need to take an attachment back to where it came from, like you would a store, something that got attached to you, you would take it back, right? No, I think they either get a clue or you kind of just, they know they've done their course. Like the guy I had from New Orleans, it was a week and he was like, yeah, this lady's boring. I'm out.
Jen says she did an interview with Gacy's last victim, who was a friend.
That's crazy.
Is that crazy? That's
I am so, it's so weird. I am so fascinated by that whole story. As horrible as it is, there's something about that man that draws me in. But I like, I can't really say I like serial killers. I'm fascinated by them. It's a difference. I don't like walk around outside of jails like, hey boys. There's nothing like that. I just it fascinates me how your mind can even go there to do that to somebody else. Seriously. Jen, that's incredible.
Jenny and Gacy. Yeah.
Oh, I need to talk to you sometime. Oh.
Nida.
Hi, Nida.
Hi, Nida. Hey, by the way, I'm not sure. But I know he went to jail.
You know what? I think he did kill himself by a lake. I think he did.
I'm not sure how he died.
Yeah, he didn't stand trial because I think he offed himself before that even happened. Something happened.
Even Dale
Yeah,
Kazmarek said,
Merrick, you are a hero anyway, and you're going to tell me this now? That is so cool. Oh, I'm so jealous. That is cool. I'm a huge fan of Dale's. He doesn't know that till tonight, but I am.
well, Dale, there you go. Got a new fan. You have always had.
Not a new one. I've been a fan for years. No, that's crazy. Did you, Dale, did you go to the crawl space, or did you just say actually check out the home part? Or did you go where the bodies were?
So put it down. We'll add it up here in a second. Yeah, Dale's been awesome. He's come to the last couple of Cycling Tonight meetings. And
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, we're very excited to have him and bring his knowledge into the group. And
yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff.
He's an amazing man. Oh, by the way, while you're in the room, Dale, let's book a date where you can come on the show.
Yeah, Dale, because I think you are my guy to talk to about the airplane crash that happened outside of Chicago in the 70s. I was going to do something on that, and Ursula had told me that you had done something, but I still am interested. So after the house was gone, you were there. How did it feel?
It's hard to do an interview by chat, but we'll do it. First for every show.
Sorry. Not often.
Yeah, if you have other questions. Oh, good. Yeah.
Ooh. I bet you did.
So what's that place in Upper Wisconsin? You ever hear of that? Is this called Summer Wind?
Summer Wind's gone though. They took Summer Wind down. What's
did
that?
they even take it? It's just like Gacy's house is gone. But did they leave the chimney up? Because that was up for a long time. Or is that gone now too?
No, I think that was still there. Last I checked, there is a guy that owns that land, and he had opened it 2 years ago for camping for paranormal groups to camp there overnight. And of course, by the time I saw it, it was booked for both things. And then they didn't do it this summer for the obvious reasons. And I don't know if he's going to do it again or not, because it would have been like a little mini Woodstock happening there. There was a lot of groups that wanted to get in there. Right. Yeah, Nida, I'm with you, and I missed what Dale said because I was yapping. But okay, did you?
I'll put it back up.
Yeah, I was just curious what was on the infrared, like figures of people walking around. That's fascinating to me. But yeah, that plane crash thing is pretty interesting. Scotty, have you ever been on Ursula's tour that covered that part?
No,
oh, God, so
I went
good.
on that downtown. But yeah, not that.
That tour was the best tour I have ever taken. Seriously, it was hands down. She did a great job. I wish she was still doing it. But yeah, there's so many crazy stories about what happened with that plane crash that happened right outside of O'Hare. And now it's like, I think the cops use it as a dog training site. And then after that, I think it became like just like a park in between the airport and yes, Dale, I want to go there really bad. Really, really bad. Just put that little bee in your bonnet.
Yes, Ursula had some great tours.
Yeah, she did.
I know Shadowhunters did a tour for her too, so we miss her doing her work, that's for sure.
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed that tour though. And that was Gacy's house, or the McMansion that was built over the site, and then also that plane crash site. And I gotta get in there. Oh, there's very few things I get my teeth into because I'm interested in all of it, but that plane crash is a nagger for me. I know there's something there for me. Interesting. Well, if you need anybody to carry your coffee or get your lunch, Dale, just give me a call and I'll be happy to help you out.
2 seconds with coffee. We'll tell you, you'll have the right amount of sugar and the milk in it because we picked it up.
Yeah, right.
Two sugars, one cream.
We are perfect assistants that way. We know what you need before you need it.
All right, here we go.
Oh, do ghosts travel? Because many stories people say that a ghost is same part of the house. See, it depends on what you believe. That's an excellent, excellent question.
Great question. But
I'll
ghosts.
let Scotty start on that one.
I'm going to start on this one because mostly ghosts stay close to where their activity was. So their homes, but if they died on the road, they can go there. They're going to try to find the person that killed them. If it's a murder, if it's a kidnapping, that type of stuff, they're going to go try to find that person and haunt them. So they're going to be able to go to those type of places where a spirit's going to be able to go with you wherever you are because they're attached to you. That's the difference. So like grandpa or grandma or dad are going to be there for you no matter where you go. You don't have to go to a cemetery to talk to your dad. You can just talk to him. But ghosts are going to try to resolve their issues on Earth, and a lot of times, even if it's greed, they're going to, and they got a really expensive house, they're going to be in that house because that's what they put here on Earth, so greed, jealousy, revenge, all those dumb emotions that people live in, that's what ghosts feel. Hope that answered. Does that make sense?
I think so.
But I don't see them going to like your house. You know what I mean? A ghost if they're from, I just don't see them picking random houses to go to where spirits will go to everybody's house. It's just different.
I have a house where I live and what I do, and I have a house full all the time at my house, and I had ghosts in my house before I moved in this house. So the people coming in back and forth, is that a spirit to you then? Like the ones that are coming to communicate to me, but my son can see them as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
He's a psychic medium.
He's at least a medium. I know that. And I think he's going to be much better than me. But
all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums.
True. To some extent. Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Yes. I agree with that.
But see,
you have haunted places, and you also have haunted people.
Correct. Me too,
which is not the same as possessed people, just so y'all know. Because that turns into a whole other thing, and that's nothing to do with that.
By the way, you're welcome, Debbie. Thank you.
You're learning that I'm a spoiled brat that I'm demanding to go to. Demanding to go to Facts Hollow and the plane crash site with Dale Kaczmarek.
Yeah, very true.
They must like you, Barbara.
Yeah, very true. That's the way it is.
Then, so you would be the haunted person.
Correct.
Point in case, right there.
Yeah, haunted people.
You're not possessed.
Objects. There's places, objects, people.
Right. Exactly. Sometimes you can be in a brand new constructed house with the most haunted person on the planet and have stuff happen. Sometimes you can be in the oldest and scariest looking house in the world and nothing happens.
Okay, Dana, stop. No, just stop right now. Ready? Drum roll. Give me a drum roll.
What am I doing this for?
This.
Yeehaw! Thank you, because I will take you up on that. I'm so excited.
I'm coming too. We
come as a bookends.
We come as a team. We come as the gang. Once you hear,
that's awesome, because I will really go with you, because I've been wanting to do my next talk. want to do on that plane crash. Oop. Okay, that works. This is going to be perfect. Although there's going to be like 6 million people on site getting everybody else coffee.
Pay it forward. Pay it forward.
I haven't. I just know that there have been reports of like those poor people in the trailer park that had that happen are still having it happen every now and again. They get their doors or windows are knocked on, and there's these people standing there, and they open the door and there's no one there. Yes.
Sure will, Dee. We'll talk about the multitasking. And he wants to know what comments we're responding to. We will read them.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I haven't even thought about that. You're right.
I never think about that. That's a good idea, though.
Yep. Oh. Anyway, and then they have the gasoline guy where this guy like walks people like on the block next to that, and he's carrying a briefcase, but he reeks like jet fuel. It's just so cool. There's so many things. I just think it happened so fast. Those people just didn't go anywhere.
Right. You know,
they didn't
Dale,
know.
By the way, so here we go, Dean. Dale says, yes, many strange encounters in the trailer court to this day.
Which is a good reference for whoever was asking. I think it was Michelle, actually, Laporte. As far as, you know, taking ghosts home or getting attachments to places, I think like in the case of that plane crash, for instance, those people became attached to that area. They're not attached to like me or to anybody living in there. I think it's a haunted place because of that attachment. They didn't know what to do in that plane crash. I mean, it happened so incredibly fast, and it was so violent. You know, I don't pray to God they didn't feel anything. I really doubt they did. So they were like, what the hell happened? Right. So they're all out looking to go home. So where are they going to go? The trailer park, because it's closer than the airport. And they're going to ask those people to use their phones and stuff. And they're still doing it.
Right.
So
you know, that's the thing that I felt at 9/11 on the site. You know,
I haven't been there yet. I want to take my son, but COVID screwed up so many things. Sorry, COVID's going to go away.
It's almost
right sucks.
But the good thing though, there I didn't feel a lot of ghosts. I felt just energy. I felt a lot of residual energy in.
You know, I've got a good story for you about this. When that happened, I was still married, and I lived in Edgerton, Wisconsin. And there was a woman and her daughter that I knew very well. They were friends of the family. And the daughter had little kids at the time. And they were this before the planes hit and stuff. The little girl sitting in front of the TV set. And then it happened, and she turned and she looked at her mother, and she said, "Mommy, where are all the angels going?"
Aww.
And she could see, like, and Chris, the girl, was like, "What is she talking about?" Because all she's seeing is smoke. And the little girl said, "No, there's a bunch of angels coming out of there. Can't you see them?" And she was doing this with her fingers. And I thought, oh my God, that is the most amazing story to me. Yeah. I don't know what she was seeing, if it's the souls from the plane or the people on that particular. I don't know what she was seeing. But people
it was that died in the building. Everybody that died, she saw them leaving. And that's the great thing, that we all know that they're angels now, or they're spirits, and they've crossed over.
There's got to be some good that came out of that. Yep. Mm-hmm. So she was seeing. Okay, so Jen Hodgson is saying that she did a meditation of Scotty's in New York City and was seeing many things at the location of the memorial, which is very interesting. I have not been again. The last time I was in New York, I was in the Trade Center.
Okay. I never got to see him. My only time
level, actually. I was way up there in there. That was years ago, but I'm glad I saw it when I did. I still can't get my brain around the fact that they fell because I was
Right.
in them. Just doesn't seem like it could happen, but it did.
So someone asked, what was the date of the plane crash? May 25th, 1979.
Right. And it was a huge, I mean, you can like look it up. I think it was one of the biggest air disasters we've had.
Well, it was huge for us here in the Midwest
Huge.
because it was right here,
I think in the country though,
it was
one of the biggest we
but
had.
it was,
yeah.
But I was from Racine, Wisconsin, which is south of Milwaukee. So everybody was close. Everybody was worried. It was a tough time around here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was scary. I think somebody I know, I think their grandparents were supposed to fly, but then something happened at the airport and they couldn't get on the plane. And I can't remember who that is. It may have been somebody that I met at a Chicago Paracon or something. I don't remember who it was, but it's so interesting to hear some of the stories that come out of that. It's insane. Oh, yes, it would. So Dale is saying he's had many people contact him. Dale Kaczmarek is an amazing researcher and investigator in the Midwest. For those that don't know who he is, has done so many things. Anyway, that's who we're talking to here. For those that don't know, he is saying that many people contact him who have had people die in that crash that happened, and he thinks it would be great to bring them along to try and communicate with those who did pass away. And I have to say, I agree with you.
Me too,
because it might be able to get him moving along a little bit. Because my God, these people, it's horrible. Yes, that's what I thought. For airlines, that's true.
we should read it. So Dale says, still the largest loss of life in U.S. history.
In aviation, anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Because it went up in the air and then it literally fell to the earth. Like, bam. I mean, there was nothing. I can't even begin to imagine. However, they have not done much with that where it did crash. Of course, being Chicago, they like to bury their history. So there wasn't any sort of stone or anything erected until probably like the last 15 years, I think it was, Ursula said. And it's, I think, on the street adjacent to the site. Because, they just don't talk about their failures down there, which is unfortunate. But who am I? I'm from 286 people died in that plane crash after it literally had just left the airport.
Right.
It hadn't even done much.
No, I mean,
you can feel air right from it. I mean, it's right there.
It's right there. Yeah. Went down like a rock very fast.
Literally. Yeah. I don't even know what happened. I don't remember what they said happened. If it was an engine or.
Dale will tell us.
Yes, Dale will. But yeah, I would love to go in there and at least, I'm not going to stand there and say I'm going to get people. I might try, and I probably will get people, but I would rather just hear the stories of, what the hell's gone on there since that plane crash.
Right.
How many generations of people have lived in that trailer court that are still getting that, having that happen, or how many people have moved in since it, or in the last year, have you had anything happen?
Right.
The whole thing is so interesting to me.
You move the heck out.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, it is an hour and a half, like you and I always do.
Okay, we got to go.
We got to go. We got to get out of here. So, Dana, tell everybody about you, and then I'll get where I can see me and all that jazz. And
I am where I always am. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on a lot of podcasts lately for some reason.
because we love you and it's fun to talk to you.
Yeah. I actually will be on a podcast again on Friday.
No.
And then after that, pretty sure I'm going to start running some classes pretty soon from my office, but I don't know yet about the social distancing thing, so I'm kind of waiting on that. But beyond that, I'm good.
That's awesome. So next week, as you can see on the bottom, I have Jeremy Andiker. Jeremy does channel. He's one of the coolest channelers I've ever met. He's out of Madison, so we're gonna be talking to him next week. And then the following week is my big week, and I want everybody to come back. So Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood,
Yeah,
right here in Scotty's neighborhood in 2 weeks. March 3rd, right here, will be in my neighborhood. I can't wait to talk to him. Very excited to have him.
Mr. McFeely.
Mr. McFeely will tell us everything about him and Mr. Rogers and everything he's done in his life. So very excited.
That is very exciting.
I don't know if we'll get into the paranormal at all, but I don't care. So I'm talking to Mr. McFeely.
I bet you he's into it.
Yeah. Well, he said he'd come on my show, so
I bet you Mr. Rogers has sent him messages or something. I bet you get something out of him. Bet you anything.
That'd be great. Come find me. See my name there, Scotty Rorek. I'm everywhere. Just Google me. 60 pages of Google or some jazz like that.
Thanks, everybody that tuned in to listen to me yap again.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate everybody. We love you guys. And we'll see you next week with Jeremy Andiker. And thank you so much for being here today with me. And as always, we'll see you guys soon. See you next Wednesday night right here on the Shadow Hunters page. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Hang on. I gotta find our closing.